Hey YouTube people, today I'm going to be looking at some Model 3 door sills. And full disclosure, the company Bassinor provided these to me, and I was originally going to do just a straight up review and how to install, but on YouTube there's actually lots of videos on how to do that, and I'll link some in the description below. But what I wanted to do today is really test if these door sills actually make a big difference or not in terms of cabin noise and just quality of life inside the car. So I've seen two different reviews that tried to do an examination of these door sills, and one of them had very little difference. It showed that there wasn't a whole lot of difference between having the door sills installed versus not. And another video showed that there was a 7 decibel improvement in audio, or sorry, just in noise levels. So the guy who didn't get any improvement though said that he did feel like it was quieter, but he couldn't find a way to actually get that to show in the results. Whether, I don't know what his methodology was, but I'm going to be super methodological. Is that a word? Anyways, I'm going to use as close as I can, a repeatable metric. And how I'm going to do that is this. Okay, so there's a few things that I'm going to control for. The first thing is the car is completely devoid of any objects, so there shouldn't be any additional rattling other than you would get normally in the car. And the other thing I've done is I've put down some foam padding, so when I use this decibel meter here, I get accurate results. What I'm going to be doing is lining up the lip of the microphone on this phone to the edge of the console, so it's in the exact same position every time I do a recording. The other thing that I will be doing is turning off the fan noise, and obviously will not have the radio going. So hopefully if I control all these variables, I'm going to get some accurate results. So let's talk about what exactly I'm going to be recording. So I'm going to do 3 different roads. I'm going to do 1 minute going 30 miles an hour on an offbeat kind of frontage road that has lots of potholes and just a really rough, crappy road basically. Then I'm going to do some basic, just a really nice smooth residential road going about, well, not residential, but just some nice smooth roads at about 40 miles an hour. And then I'm going to go on the freeway, and in the exact same section of freeway I'm going to hit 80 miles an hour and record going at 80 miles an hour, and do that for about a minute for each test. And then I will provide all of the sound samples to you, and I'll do that, I'll do 3 runs before installing the door sills, and then 3 runs after for each of those 3 roads. So all in all, there's going to be 18 different recordings, so maybe I'm in for more than I thought on this, but yeah, so let's go ahead and do it and see. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to go into a ton of depth about this Bassinor road sill or door sill kit, but it is actually laid out pretty nicely. They've cut you the right amount of tubing, and it is set up in the right spot. They even have some sections of tubing that have 2 different types on it. So versus just buying a big roll of some Z and some P sealing tubing like this, they really have thought this out and have included all the pieces you need, rough cut, so it should be really easy to get this installed. So I'm going to go ahead and install that on my car, and I'll just show you what it looks like once I'm done. But there's plenty of other videos out there that will show you exactly how to install these. And then we will do our final test runs and compare the audio. All right, so I just got these finished installed. Goes around the bottom edge on the rear door and on the side. And also the B-pillar seal. And on the front door, all this is new. And all along the bottom as well. And what I found is some people made holes underneath here so that the water would still come out through the holes that exist here. And now I can't remember where it is, but I found that it actually still has room to come out through that seal. Of course I can't find it here now, but there is plenty of room for, yeah, you can see right there. So you can see, let me see if I can focus that just a little better for you guys. You can see that the bottom of where water can come out is actually still, I mean, there's still a slit there and the water should come right out. So no issues there. There's the piece up in here that also seals that front edge. And I didn't notice too much of a difference when I shut the door. Some people said that, you know, they could hear a difference, but it sounds about the same to me. Maybe a little more muffled. And see my mess, but it's all installed. And we can go see if that made a difference to our cabin noise. Okay, so here we are at the frontage road, and I'm gonna go along this just so you can see the type of road terrain for test number 1 that we have. This is what we're gonna be seeing. So pretty rough road, should give a lot of road noise. Okay, so now we're gonna take a nice smooth road and we're gonna use the exact same, every test is gonna be from the exact same position, and we'll get up to speed and record from going 40 miles an hour forward. Okay, so as you can maybe tell, it was a little hard to tell the difference between those two recordings. In terms of the decibel level recorded, there was it's hard to tell because it still could be within a margin of error. Um, but overall, we did see that the decibel level did increase just very slightly. But what I noticed is that's kind of a misnomer because some of the noise that's coming from like the maxes and the averages of theirs seem to be coming from some potentially either some rattling or some noises in the car that are not really anything that would be affected by the door sills. Where you could notice a difference was when it was actual road noise from the outside, which is why maybe the decibel level didn't show the improvement as much as it did. So I thought I would show you two different pieces of information that I've isolated within these audio tracks. The first one being the freeway run. There's kind of just a differential in the road that I hit on each of the runs that kind of had a little thump thump as I went through it. So you can see this is without the sills, this particular one, and this is the one with the sills. So let's go ahead and give these a listen, and I'll let you guys kind of hear the difference. So what I noticed in hearing this myself was that it's more of a tonal difference than an overall um, peak difference. I guess what I'm saying is there's a slight tonal difference when you have the door sills installed versus not. So while this run on the freeway hit this and was fairly loud, you can see it even spiked right there. The same hit on the freeway with the sills on was just slightly reduced. So you can almost see that in the waveform that it's just a little bit more diminished on this side. So let's look at the smooth run. There was a slight difference here as well. On the smooth road, there was just a slight differential in the road where they'd patched some road that made a little bit of noise. So I have the smooth road audio without the door sills and with the door sills. Let's go ahead and give that a listen. So you can see how that was very slight. You almost get a really distinct kind of two-touch here. You can even see it in the waveform, but after the road sills, that was diminished slightly. So you can see there's actually a pretty substantial difference between those two. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of hard-nosed data look at Model 3 door sill strips and whether they can reduce the cabin noise in your car. And we found that that actually they can reduce the noise slightly. We saw overall decibel reduction. Still could be within margin of error, but when you go in and look at the actual road noise inside the waveforms, you can tell that it's just a little bit less. It almost changed the tone of things on the inside of the car, kind of just brought the tone down a little bit. It's not going to do miracles. It's not necessarily meant for that. For me, the biggest reason why you'd want to pick up some of these door seal strips is when you're washing the car, there's a lot of water and dust and dirt that can get kicked up into those door sills. So it's a good way to block that out. So anyways, if you want the raw data files, I'm going to include a link to those files. If you're interested in them, there's 18 different waveforms that I've recorded. If you want to analyze those yourself or kind of hear them or, do whatever you want to do with them. And so, anyways, thanks for watching the channel. If you're interested, I don't know if I said this, but if you want to pick up some of the door sill strips, look at the Amazon link in the description. And if you like the video, subscribe. We want more Model 3 content. Thumbs up. And we'll see you next time.